Hi everyone. In this lecture, I will create the food ordering system project and then create the modules of the order service using clean architecture. So let's open the IntelliJ Community Edition that we have downloaded in the setup section. I will first create a new Maven project, food ordering system. As group ID, I will use com food ordering system. And as artifact ID, I will use food ordering system. I will click on Finish button and create the project. If I open the POM.xml file, you will see the group and artifact ID, and also you see the Maven compiler source and target set as 17 automatically. This will be the main project, and I will create the services and modules under this project. So there shouldn't be a source folder here, because I will not put any Java source files in this folder, so I will delete it. Then I will open POM.xml file. Here I will use packaging property to set this project type as POM. Here we can use two types of packaging, POM or jar. The default one is jar, and it will create a jar file from the module. For the main project, it doesn't make sense to use a jar packaging, as there is no source code. So I set it as POM here, and make it the parent POM.xml file for the child services and modules. I will use Spring Boot to create the microservices. So here I will use parent tag and use Spring Boot starter parent with the latest Spring Boot version, which is 2.6.7 at the time of this video. I will also set the relative path property as empty. This relative path is used to search local file system for parent Maven projects. But since we have an external parent project, which is Spring Boot, we don't need to search local file system. The parent POM will be loaded from the Spring Boot library. So to set the relative path as empty is a best practice if your parent is an external project like Spring Boot. Then I will add dependency management section, dependencies section, and build section in the POM.xml file. For now, I will only add a plugin in the build section. We will be adding the dependencies while creating the services. The plugin that I will add is the Maven compiler plugin, which will set the Java version for a Maven project. So I will add plugins section and use plugin tag to add the Maven compiler plugin. If I go to Maven Apache org website, I see that the latest version of Maven compiler plugin is 3.9.0. So let's use that. Then I will add configuration section and use release tag and set it as 17 to indicate this is a Java 17 project. Actually, this release tag will set the same Java version for source and target, so we don't need the properties for Maven compiler, which came automatically from IntelliJ, so I will remove them. This Maven compiler plugin is necessary to force IntelliJ to use this specific release version. To keep the versions in a single place, I will create a Maven compiler plugin version property in the properties section and use this property in the plugin. As mentioned in the setup lecture, be sure that you have JDK 17 installed and is chosen in the project structure as shown here. Also be sure Maven is installed, and when you run Maven version command, you see the JDK 17 in the output. Alright, now I can create the order service, which will be a multi-module service including multiple submodules to develop and manage them separately. So I will go and create the order service as a new Maven module. I will right click on the main project folder and choose new Maven module, and I will name it as order service. I will leave the group ID, artifact ID and version as it is, and click on finish button. Here I have another source folder under order service. I will also delete that because this order service will also be a base project. I will have submodules under order service for the components. Now I will create all the submodules for the order service. As you remember in the previous lecture, we have designed the order service using hexagonal architecture. According to that design, we will have a domain module, so let's go and create that first. Right click on order service, choose new module, choose Maven, click next. Be sure parent is order service and name of the module will be order domain, and then I will click on finish. Next, I will have a module for the API layer. So I will create another Maven module under order service and name it as order application, because this will be the application site that the end user will communicate first. Then I will create another Maven module under order service. This one will be responsible for data operations. So I will name it as order data access. Let's look at the architecture again. What else can we create as a separate module? Here you see a messaging component. As I mentioned, I will use events to communicate between services using Kafka. So I need a messaging module that will implement the producer and consumers for the events. So let's create the order messaging Maven module under order service. Now I have 4 modules: domain, application, data access, and messaging. So as mentioned, the idea is to develop the domain separately and make other modules plugins to the domain module. Now I need a module that will create the runnable jar file for the microservice and have a dependency to all of the other modules. I will call this module as order container, as it will contain all other modules, and also apart from creating a runnable jar file, I will also create a Docker image from that runnable jar and run it on a Docker container. So that's why I named this module as order container. So let's create this module, order container under order service, again as a Maven module. I will remove the auto-generated Maven compiler property from all the POM files. It is generated by IntelliJ, but I already set the Maven compiler plugin with JDK 17 in the base POM XML file, as you see here. So I don't need to repeat that property. Here in the order service POM.xml file, you see the 5 submodules in the modules section. Now, according to our design diagram, I created the modules. However, under order domain, I want to create 2 more submodules to separate the core domain from the application services, which are the services that expose domain methods to the outside. So let's go to order domain and first create a new Maven module named order domain core. Choose order domain as the parent for this submodule and click on finish. I will put the core logic inside this module. So this will include entities, value objects, and domain services. Now I will create another submodule, a Maven module, under order service, and this one will be order application service. Again, I choose order domain as the parent for this submodule and click on finish. I will remove the Maven properties again, not to repeat it in each POM.xml file. And then delete the source folder in the order domain module, because it is a parent module and will not include source files directly. I have created all the modules that should be in the order service. Now, before writing any code, let's put the dependencies according to hexagonal and clean architecture principles. I will start doing that in the next lecture.